Hello my friends, welcome to the metal shop. Today I'm going to try and do a quicker video here on swapping out your Floyd Rose sustain block for a big brass block or titanium or whichever one you want to swap out to. So after this video you will be able to determine exactly which block is right for you and B, how to easily swap it out on a guitar that is already strung up, okay? So first things first, you need to determine your size. And the easiest thing to do is to measure the size, and this is in millimeters. 42 millimeters, 37 millimeters, 32 millimeters are the three standard Floyd Rose sizes. The easiest thing to do is to measure what you have in the guitar. Take a good quality steel ruler, slip it down in there, and measure in millimeters exactly how long the block is to make sure that you get the right one. Failing that, each one has its own use, and I will insert pictures for each one. We'll start with the shortest, the 32 millimeter, and a lot of times this will be embossed on here. This one just has the patent number on it. A real Floyd Rose block is solid brass and heavy, and it will have the patent numbers embossed in it, and a lot of times they will have the number in millimeters. This one says 37, this one says 42 right on it. So first, the 32 millimeter. This is for a fully recessed Floyd Rose. The Floyd is sunken in and level with the body, and I will insert a picture here of a fully recessed trem. Next, we have the 37 millimeter, and this is by far the most common one if you're not dealing with a recessed trem. The 37 millimeter is when you have a top-mounted trem. Think about Eddie Van Halen with the tremolo is mounted flush to the body of the guitar so that you can't pull it back. It sits level with the face of the guitar. And I'll insert a picture of a flush mount trem, a top mount trem a la EVH. I'll insert a picture here. All right, and last but not least, we have the 42 millimeter sustain block. And what this one is for is when you have a top-mounted, a non-recessed trem, but the Floyd Rose sits up off of the body enough of a distance that it necessitates the use of this longer sustain block. And I will insert a picture of a tall, non-recessed trem here. What this one is for is there's no recess cut, but the trem sits high enough off the body of the guitar that you're able to pull it back. It'll dump the action down to decrease pitch, but it'll also go back and increase your pitch. Okay, so now we've determined what size block you want, and they also come in many different shapes and sizes. So first things first, if it doesn't come in this packaging here, if it doesn't say Floyd Rose, authentic Floyd Rose tremolo replacement parts, and come in this packaging, it's counterfeit. Does it matter? It really doesn't. It's a chunk of brass, okay? But if you want a real Floyd Rose product, it will have the FR logo embossed in it. It will have the length, or the width in millimeters embossed on it. This one's a 42. And a real one will say www.floydrose.com on it, okay? The counterfeits, and some of them are very good. For example, this one is a counterfeit. Pro Rock Gear. It's really nice, has the FR, has the 42, but it does not say Floyd Rose anywhere on this, okay? This is a counterfeit, and it's within a few dollars of this one. If we're dealing just with brass, the 42L block will be your most expensive. It uses the most brass. And if you get a 32, it's obviously going to be the cheapest. So anyway, this one is a counterfeit. I bought these from Music Lily And this is a 37L, and they're half the price. I believe this is $15, maybe $17 on Amazon for the Music Lily product. It's a chunk of brass, okay? So only you can decide, do you need to have a real Floyd Rose or not? Do you have enough room for the L? Not all routes have room for all this extra brass. And think of all that extra sustain you're going to lose if you don't have this little piece here. LOL. I will insert a picture of a standard route will fit this. And the guitar we're going to work on today is a standard route, and I will demonstrate that. But there are some, they're not quite as common, but there are some that do not fit. They will not fit this L portion into them. And I will insert a picture of a couple of routes that will not fit this L-shaped block. I'll insert that picture here. All right, so now we have determined which block that we're going to buy. We have the right size, we have the right width, and now we're going to install the block the easy way in a guitar that's already strung up. And here we have, this is the traditional route that I'm talking about. See how it's shaped? It's not a rectangle. It has this portion here. This portion is really unnecessary if you think about it. What they've done is this is the spot where the bar, the assembly for the bar, takes up a little bit of space, but it doesn't have to come all the way through the body. And there are some routes that appear like this, like the pictures that I showed you. That L-shaped block will not fit in a rectangular route, won't fit. This L shape goes around the assembly, around that bar assembly that the bar screws into. All right, so now we're going to do this the easy way. And when you have a Floyd Rose, for all of its faults that it comes with, this is going to work in your favor, swapping this out easily on a guitar that's already strung up, okay? So, we're on to part 1, determining your size. Part 2, which one do you want, a real or counterfeit, the L or the square. Part 3, what we're going to do is we're going to slack the strings on the guitar, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the locking clamp here to our advantage. You're going to want to have your 3mm and your 2.5mm Allens. I like the Gatool here. So we're going to use the Floyd to our advantage here. I'm going to undo the clamps, but we're not going to take them off. And what we're going to do here is we're going to slack the strings by 2 at a time. Get them good and slack. All right, those are good and slack. Then what we're going to do is we're going to clamp this back down. We're holding these strings taut with our hand here, holding them good and taut, and we're going to clamp this back down, okay? We're going to do this same thing to all the strings, 2 at a time. All right, now that we've slacked off all our strings, we're going to just pop the strings right off here at the Floyd Rose unit itself. Pop each string out. Can kind of give them they'll stay together, kind of wrap them around the neck. Now we're going to tighten back up, just at least temporarily, each one, because we don't want the blocks to fall out. We're going to flip the guitar over. And we're going to pop the trem out, removing the springs. This spring puller from StruMac is an indispensable tool. You can do it with your hands most of the time, but sometimes you will need this spring puller. I like to keep my springs in order. I don't know that it really matters. Now, the trem should fall right out. And in this case, it did not, which is fine. Sometimes you will have to remove one of your posts. Sometimes the fit is so tight that you'll get one post on, but you will not get the other post on. Don't get frustrated. You're just going to have to take that post out, put the trem on, and put the post back in. It just is what it is. This one's tight, but not too tight. I set the guitar aside. And now, using our 2.5, the smaller Allen wrench, we're going to loosen just our A, our D, our G, and our B saddles. We only have to take off these 4. Okay, pro tip right here. Get out your camera. Take a picture of your setup here. Maybe make some notes, but a picture is worth 1,000 words here to get your setup back. And there's easy things to remember. Like, for example, this saddle here, EAGGB, the B is shoved all the way up against the screw. That's easy to remember. That's an easy way to figure out where you're going. And again, you guys, guitar players, you all know these are graduated like a set of stairs. 1, 2, 3, down, 1, 2, 3. So try and preserve your setup here. Let's see, we're going to loosen this one and let's see. Okay, that one is butted all the way against the set screw here. So that's an easy one to remember. A lot of times there'll be witness marks that you can see. Okay, now we're on to another pro tip. When you remove your saddles, it is a priority. You must keep them in order. All right, so like I said, very important to keep your saddles in order when you remove them. There are 3 different sizes. Your outer E's, your low and your high E are one size. They are the shortest. Your A and your B are your next size, your next tallest, the middle size. And your D and your G here in the center are the tallest sizes. And they're usually marked 1, 2, and 3 slash marks, so on and so forth. But they're graduated in height to give you the curve for the radius. Very important that you keep them in order as you take them off. All right, we've removed the saddles. We've kept them in order. And now what we're going to do is we're taking our 3mm, they're larger, of the Floyd Rose Allen wrenches. And we're going to loosen the 3 short Allen bolts that hold the sustain block in place. Now, what I like to do is I'm only going to remove the outer 2 screws. I keep those in order too. Does that matter? No. OCD. Now, the center one, I'm going to loosen it, but now we're going to flip this over. Leaving that screw in place, holding everything else together here in order. And just in case you do mess it up, it's the sustain block, then your spring plate tensioner, then the actual spring. That's the order of things. A real Floyd block, the Floyd Rose logo will point towards the rear of the guitar. This one, the springs, the holes for the springs are centered, but they're drilled on an angle. We have left our setup intact here with everything in order. We're going to orient this towards the rear of the guitar. And we're just going to slide this on, threading it in, preserving the order of things. I'm going to use our Allen driver here to line up the other screws. And we're going to drive those home. I always like to tighten up using the right angle Allen. You get much more torque. This is not something that you want to loosen up. Now we're going to reassemble our saddles, taking note of their position as we removed them. And preserving our setup, tightening these back down with the 2.5-inch Allen key. All right, there we go. Now we have this reassembled and we're ready to drop this back into the guitar. I'm gonna give it a little clean under here. You're never gonna get into here again to dust this and clean this up. Dig those old wood screw posts on this Jackson. I spec'd that out. This was custom made. I'm going to drop that back in. And sometimes you'll find, I don't hope this doesn't happen, I really don't want this, is that the bigger block will make it so that you can't, remember how this dropped right in and dropped right out? Oh, there we go. Awesome. Awesome. Pop our springs back on. Yeah, those went right on by hand, no problem. Now we're just going to restring up the guitar. Our strings are nice and slack so that we can loosen our saddle. We can drop in our string till it bottoms out right in the groove. Can tighten it up. Use the right angle. Again, get it good and tight. Same with your locking clamp. All right, let's get this thing strung up. All right, and there you have it. Simple as that. Choosing the right sustain block, big brass block for your guitar, and changing it up the easy way on a strung up guitar without losing your setup. Remember what your setup is. It's hard to see in the time lapse, but I did run into some issues. I forgot this guitar was tuned to drop D. Tried to tune it to standard tuning, and the tremolo wanted to pitch up, and I was like, what's going on? Just remember, you have the multiple guitars, what your setup is. So as always, my friends, thank you so much for watching. Truly appreciate your support. Please give me a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the video, you found it useful and helped you out, I sincerely hope it did. I wish I had a video like this. I learned a lot of this stuff, trial and error, the hard way. Hit me up in the comments. You have any tips or tricks, or you just want to say thanks for this, I'd really appreciate it. Still respond to all of my comments. Please subscribe if you are new to the channel. As always, my friends, like I said, truly appreciate your support. Thank you for watching, and I really hope that this helped you out. All right, my friends, rock on. Take care.